Good evening, friends, and hello. It's Lisa Maynard, and this is Kit Kush Wednesday, and we are here to look at a new kit that's been out for a while, but because of things that I've had going on for the summer, I haven't been able to get to these, so we're getting to these now. Now, this is live, but it's actually been pre-recorded because I'm going to be gone for the next several Wednesdays, so you're going to get the videos on Wednesdays, but they're going to be pre-recorded lives. So still feel free to leave comments and give me a thumbs up, a love, share it with your friends, all the things. It's still going to come on your Facebook and your YouTube live. It's just that I'm going to have pre-recorded them. So we've got something great for you tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn this camera around, hopefully, because I've been having some issues with this. And here we go. We are going to take a look at this kit tonight. It's called the Thanks a Bunch kit, and it's really, really fun. So your card is actually this little, not little, it's this nice bouquet of flowers. And to open the card, you just undo the bow and you flip this open like so. It says thanks a bunch. Now we're going to work on that because that was a little hard. Thanks a bunch for your love and support. So that's how those go together. And the other one says, now this doesn't get attached, so you can, we're just going to put that right over there. And let's undo the other one. I guess you wouldn't even have to do that. You could slip it off. The other one says, so very grateful. We're going to fix this because this was a hard one. Thank you. So I'm going to show you how to make these tonight. And we're going to make them so that they're a little bit easier to open than that. So, and here is the cute little envelope that comes with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with looking at what's in this kit. And again, it's Thanks a Bunch kit. And it came out this past summer, and it's really super cute. So of course we have our instructions, super useful, which is what I'm going to be using tonight. We have our stamps, but I have them on blocks, so you're not going to see all the stamps until we do that. We have our stamp spot, Mossy Meadow. This is the color we're going to be using on this, and I am going to set that aside for a minute. Then we have our Stampin' Dimensionals and our Baker's Twine, and always when it's a stamping kit, you get a block to use for your stamps, and then a nice little insert that shows you all the stamps you have, and it coordinates with the placement of these. So if you can see that, you can tell where your stamps go if you want to put them back on there, and what stamps are missing if you've misplaced one. So then we've got our labels that we're going to stamp on, and we've got our die cut pieces. And then we have our card bases in here, plus our envelopes. So as always, if you've watched me before, I have everything already prepped in advance, so we don't have to mess with any of this. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all this stuff back in here that I don't need. I'm going to keep my instructions out because I am going to reference those as we're going through. And we're going to bring in the first card base that we're going to be working with. So this is the card base we're going to be working with. This is our string and our floral, and also the card base itself and our label. So let's go ahead and bring in our stamp pad. This is going to be the Mossy Meadow, and we're going to stamp the label, and we're also going to stamp a sentiment on the inside of the card. So first, let's go ahead and stamp this label. I'm going to go ahead and open my Mossy Meadow, and I'm doing this just for ease because I have so many of those ink pads, the little ink spots. I like to just use this, but you're going to absolutely want to use that ink spot. So the stamp we're going to use for this is Thanks a Bunch. Here it is. I've already placed it on my block. And so we're going to ink this up just like so. Just tap it a couple times on there. Now, as you know, I line this up with my the grids on my glass mat, and I'm going to try and make this fairly centered, just like so. Leave it on there for a little bit. let it soak in. And there we go. Thanks a bunch. There is our first stamp. Now we're going to go ahead and come in with our second stamp, and we're going to bring in our card base. Now, as you can see, I haven't folded anything yet. That's because we're going to do some stamping on the inside, like we said. And so I don't want to crease those and have a crease in the middle of where I want to stamp. So we're going to do this first, and then we're going to stamp it. So I'm going to put it right about here because that is about where it's going to fit, because it's a fairly long sentiment. It says, for your love and support. So thanks a bunch for your love and support. Let's go ahead and get these out of the way. I'm going to close this up right now because I don't want to stick my hands in it, and I've been known to do that. So let's go ahead and grab our bone folder. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and now fold our card base. Now, as you can see, there are the score lines that they've already pre-made in this. And so we are going to fold it over like this. So we're going to fold the little valley, as I would say, into a mountain. So that's what I'm doing right there, folding the valley into a mountain. And we're going to go ahead and do it on this one, fold the valley into a mountain, and see how that makes that look like the paper that's holding your bouquet of flowers, just like so. Pretty dang cool. So now I do actually, I'm going to need those Stampin' Dimensionals back because, well, here, I'm just going to grab, let's see, are these tiny ones? Yeah, I'm just going to grab these. There are many dimensionals in there, so I'm going to go ahead and grab these because we need to attach the thanks a bunch to the front of our card. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Let me see. Yes, it's going to be, the sentiment is going to be attached down here, but we're only going to put the Stampin' Dimensionals right in this corner because that's really the only place where this is going to be really kind of adhered to this little flap on the card. We don't want to get the Stampin' Dimensionals up in here because then we wouldn't be able to open it. So it's just a couple right down there. And we're going to put this, it's going to come up quite a ways, which is again why I don't want those Stampin' Dimensionals anywhere but on that one corner of that little flap right there. And see, so there is how that works. Sorry. There is how that works right there. Super easy, just like that, just right on that corner. All right, now there is another layering piece, and it mimics the flowers right here. It mimics those flowers. So what we are going to do is we are going to put those right over there. Now, on your instructions, it says to put the Stampin' Dimensionals super low right here. I did not do that. I put them higher up this time because otherwise, it's like you saw, I followed the directions and it was too hard to get that open. So I'm not going to do that this time. I put the Stampin' Dimensionals up higher. If you figure out a way for that to work, then you go for it. But now we're going to layer this basically right over that same, well, maybe. Let's turn it a little bit. We're going to layer it almost right over that same image that's on the card, and it just gives it another little layer. So now you should be able to bend those a little bit easier to get that in there. It actually goes like, yeah, it goes like that. What am I doing? Bear with me. We're going to fold this one over, goes under there, and we're going to fold this one under, and it goes like that. And there it is. Thanks a bunch. Now it doesn't come down as far on your little piece of the card here. I keep getting out of the frame. It doesn't come down here as far, but that's okay. I think that that's okay. I like that better because it's easier then to open. So the next thing is we're going to take this string and we're going to go ahead and come around here. And I like to get them about the same length, and we're going to tie a little bow. I'm going to tie it like this, And I like to turn it then sideways to tie my bow, because I'm going to put my finger there, and then I can still kind of place my finger on that kind of a knot and then tie that fairly tight, just like so. If that made any sense at all, I'm not sure if that did, but hopefully it did. And then I just kind of scoot it up so it's nice and tight. We don't probably want our bows that big. You can keep them however you want. I'm gonna make those just a little bit, not quite as long, and make it pretty tight right there. Now you can keep these strings as long or as short as you want. And I'm going to go ahead and clip these off just a little bit. And I'm going to do it at an angle. So one is a little bit longer than the other one. I just like that look a little bit. So there we have our first card. I keep getting out of the photo, so I apologize for that. I'm discombobulated. So there's our first card. Super, super cute. Let's go ahead and move on to the second layout. And here we have it again. It's just a different floral arrangement, similar type of card, but we have a different label we're going to stamp. And let's go ahead and bring that in right now. The label is going to say, "So very grateful for you." So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is, even though I'm making it looks really hard, this is actually a very fun and easy kit to do. I'm making it look a lot more difficult than it really is. So I'm going to line this up with my grid lines, center this, and go ahead and stamp that, letting that ink soak in a little bit. And then there we go. So very grateful. And then we're going to stamp the thank you on the inside of our card. And I already have that on here. So I'm going to stamp the thank you right about there, right on that flap. So there we go. We are done with our stamping. We're going to go ahead and get this out of the way. We're also going to, again, on this corner of the label, we're going to put a couple Stampin' Dimensionals. And just a couple, because again, we don't need that to, we don't want that to adhere to the part of your card that looks like the paper wrapping. So crease that and give it a good press with our bone folder, and crease that and give it a good press with our bone folder. Now we're going to come in again with our little label and take the backings off of those. I don't know what I have on here, but it looks like a little piece of dirt, or actually it looks like a little piece of the twine that I cut off. So I'm going to get that as much as I can off of there. Now this is going to go ahead on here again, and it's going to go up fairly high. So we want to adhere that right at the edge of your card there, but it will be easy to open. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, put that in, but we're going to layer this piece wrong way. It's going to go like this. It's going to go on here like so. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, I moved these up. I moved the Stampin' Dimensionals up, not as close to the bottom as it showed in the instructions, because you want to be able to fold that under, and you want to be able to fold this under and still be able to have a nice card without, well, again, see, I've done that wrong. This goes first. This goes first. And then this goes next. Friends, I promise this is a really fun kit. Don't let my messing it up keep you from getting this kit. And so then again, we're going to take our little twine string, and we're going to go ahead and actually, when it comes to the folding and placement, just follow the directions. Don't do what I do. Just follow the directions, because I have completely messed that up. I made these a while ago, and I am just now showing you this kit. So sometimes when I don't go live right away or I don't make the video, I forget what I did. And that's exactly what happened. So I apologize for that. Now I got to get my fingers under there, and we're going to make this bow a little bit better. Make this string a little bit bigger here. Again, I am having the worst time, but I promise you, it's really not that hard. I'm making it look increasingly harder than it is. I'm going to slide that up so it's a little bit tighter. And then maybe make my bow a little bit smaller here and here, just like that. See, I'm out of the frame again. I don't know if my camera's in a different place than it normally is. I'm going to go ahead and snip the edges of these off because I don't want them that long. And there is our final card. 2 cards. Oh, that was, I don't know why that was so hard. It was very difficult, but that's what they look like closed. Follow your instructions. Really isn't that hard. This is what they look like when you give them to someone and they get to open them. Super pretty. Lovely, lovely cards. I think anyone would love getting this little bouquet, if you will, of flowers. And you wouldn't even necessarily have to put the twine around them if you wanted to. You could also just make a nice little bow and put it on the front with a glue dot or something if you didn't want to mess with tying, and if you don't like to tie bows when you have to wrap them around something. And again, here's our last one, and it says thanks a bunch. This is what it looks like when it's open. And again, let me put these together correctly. This is what it looks like when it's closed. They're very, very darling. And of course, they definitely fit in your envelope with plenty of room. So with that, let me see if I can turn this camera around because I've been having difficulties with this, and we're going to sign off here. I'm going to remove that from the stage. I'm going to remove that from the stage, and I'm going to try and make sure. There I am. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it was pre-recorded, but tune in again. Next Wednesday, we'll be doing another kit. And as always, I appreciate all of you that tune in, that share it with your friends, that watch me, even though it's not live. As always, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So have a great Wednesday evening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.